Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Bulldogs podcast. I am Daniel.
I am Clint. And Daniel, it's Monday, another Monday in which I said this on the Twitter sphere. One thing is constant in this world. Nothing else I know of. Okay. Here's one thing. Georgia trouncing people. This much I am sure of.
Yeah, I believe it's death and taxes, and by death I mean of the opponents of the Georgia place. That's what we mean. That we're speaking of. Another week, another just subpar performance to the tune of 43-6.
Oh no. You love to see it when subpar is 43-6. Hey, everybody, welcome to Locked On Bulldogs. This is Clint and Daniel. Part of the Locked On Bulldog, or part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, 5 days a week during the season. We are not gurus or insiders, but we are fans first and foremost, which is what we do on this podcast. We fan out better than anything else in the world. And we love it. That's why we made the podcast. So join us in not taking ourselves too seriously nor each other. Have some fun with us on this podcast.
Believe me, they're joining us in not taking us too seriously, Clint. That is,
we read the comments.
We do read the comments. And so thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing and following along. The podcast is in audio form on anywhere you get your audio podcast. You can subscribe there, leave us a rating and review, tell a friend about the show. Those kinds of things are helpful. And then the podcast is in video form over on YouTube. We said last week, trying to get the YouTube subscription numbers to 1,000 by the SEC championship game. Well on our way to doing that. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, click that subscribe button for us. It helps us out a bunch. That's really all that we ask you to do. And then you can definitely leave us a comment. Those are all welcome as well. So, LockedOnBulldogs@gmail.com, by the way, is the email address. @Dawgs Podcast is the aforementioned Twitter handle. If you'd like some nonsense on that platform, we can provide that for you as well. So,
yes, sir.
Boy, there's so much to cover today.
My goodness. My goodness. We typically on Monday go through kind of big picture Georgia stuff, just kind of dissecting the game from a meta narrative. And then at the end, we kind of get down to what the rest of college football, what it means for Georgia, and then what does it mean for the rest of college football landscape, that sort of deal. Yeah. And content is at a premium right now.
It's a plenty. We got some more guests lined up on the pod this week, so get excited. We got some new guests, maybe a returning guest, all sorts of fun people that we are going to be speaking with about Georgia. But let's not stray too far from our roots. Let's jump out. This is a Georgia podcast, and so let's talk about this Georgia game. Eli Drinkovitz out here onside kicking, calling timeout his way to the tune of 6 whole points. That this mastermind, the
genius again,
the uber nerd of college football, he schemed his way to 6 puntos.
That's points for all you non-Spanish speakers.
He used all of his timeouts in the second half in order to achieve that number.
And he used them all near the goal line to try to push through against third team defensive players.
Kirby wasn't particularly pleased with the performance on defense. It was not the cleanest of games that we've seen from Georgia. I would say all around it definitely wasn't the best game that we've seen from Georgia, but we did see some things from Georgia. We saw JT Daniels, for example, for the first time in quite some time. We saw some wide receivers coming back into action. We saw a new starting left tackle in place of the injured Jamari Sawyer. We saw a lot more of Robert Beal and company in place of the not currently with the team Adam Anderson. And so a lot of things that we can cover on this pod, Clint, but I would like to start.
Go ahead. You. If you no, you go right ahead, Daniel.
would like to start with the wide receivers because I think you and I texted. This was the game, I think, when the receivers really elevated themselves to the forefront of the conversation. And there's no other name to start with than, in my mind, this man, Jermaine Burton. This man, was he 100%, Clint,
I was just going to say,
this game?
Ask me if Missouri game he felt all of himself, because the answer is he felt all of himself and then some. This man is back. He's 100%, and he reminded us just how explosive and just how incredible he can be and is, Daniel. This game he showed out in an amazing fashion because he's back. He's 100% healthy, and he's going to be that way for the rest of the season. Thrilled to see it.
It's not just the speed with this guy.
No.
It's not just the athleticism and explosiveness, but his ability to go out and just catch that football is second to no one on our team. He is every bit of the weapon that we expected him to be coming into the season. When he's healthy, he adds a dimension to this offense that you remember. We've seen a lot from a lot of the other guys on the team, and we like a lot of the other guys on the team. But there's no one that can quite do, and that includes even a guy like Jorge Pickens when he's healthy. There's no one who can quite do the things that number 7 can do, and he is a welcomed return to this offense. And I believe, I mean, we saw earlier, a good friend of the pod, Sarah. If you're not following on Twitter, she made sure everybody was aware. If you weren't counting, in case you weren't charting the game the way that Clark was.
No one can chart the game like Clark does, by the way. That's real quick.
That's accurate. If you weren't charting the game, you might not have realized that Georgia had, I believe, according to Sarah, 6 offensive drives. What? And they scored how many points?
Hold on.
How many points did they score, though? That's
a lot of points and not many drives, Daniel.
It seems like a decent number. We did get a non-offensive score in the game. Should have been a non-offensive touchdown. Ended up being a non-offensive safety. Dan Jackson could have. How about Dan Jackson and the punt block unit just as a whole? Look,
can I go? I want to thank Big O. Big O, thank you for on your on-field production. That is par excellence. Okay, this dude is just balling out the tight end position. His blocking is incredible, receiving. But can I just thank you for lighting a fire under Dan Jackson by stealing one of his souls in the spring game?
Little did you know he had backups.
Well, Big O stole it. He took it and did some work on it. Put it in the shop. Came back and said, Dan, I gift you your new soul. I have reclaimed it. I've remastered it. Because Dan Jackson's playing out of his mind. He is not like he is playing not at a walk-on level right now, Daniel. Not at all. No. He's playing at Scully level, 100%. It's been incredible. And these receivers, to your point, Jermaine Burton, you want to talk about Aryan Smith. I get it. He's fast. He's quick. I think he's caught like 4 receptions in his whole entire time for 5 touchdowns. I don't know how the math works out, but it does.
The math checks out. Do not try to question the math. Okay.
Don't do that. But Jermaine Burton has that speed, has the route running ability, has the first down capability, has the possession capability. He is a complete receiver. Okay. So that's incredible. And then let's go back. We're going to talk about this. I'm assuming in the second segment, we are going to get to the quarterback position. I promise you. And here's what I don't care anymore. I was 2 weeks ago said, hey, start JT. Now he needs to start. I get it. Not because I don't like Stetson. I do like Stetson. I think he can win. I just happen to think JT is better. We're going to get to more of this game then. But let me tell you why I actually don't give too many things about it. Because our wide receivers are so much better than any other unit we're going to play. It elevates the quarterback position. There were 3 balls that should have been picked. Okay? 3 minimum that I saw. Wide receivers balled out. Brock Bowers out here shoving men down into the roots of the hedges. Daniel,
I'm talking about Brock Bowers just did to a Missouri starting defensive back what Big O did to Dan Jackson in the G-Day game. You understand?
But
That's what
this
we're talking
is SEC play. Like
this is a freshman. He's a true freshman tight end. Okay.
No. You take that slander out of your mouth. I don't know what he is. He is not that.
We're going to talk more about the pass catchers and the receivers on this team. I got more to talk about. Apparently, Clint's going to talk to you about the quarterbacks. I cannot be held responsible for what he says.
When have you ever taken responsibility for what I've said? Name one time, Daniel.
Never. We got lots more to talk about this game, and believe me, Georgia fans, there's more than just this game to be talked about in college football.
Trust me.
So we'll be back with a lot more right after we tell you about this.
PrizePicks is your daily fantasy college football experience. PrizePicks.com is where you can go. And we're going to give you, by being a sponsor of the show, PrizePicks is going to give you, the listener, thanks to Locked On Podcast and Locked On promo code, $100 bonus up to, or 100% match bonus up to $100 at PrizePicks.com or on the app in the Google Play Store or the iOS Store. PrizePicks, daily fantasy made easy. Any single prop that you can think of, multiple props you can think of, go in there right now. It's you versus the number. It's daily fantasy made easy, award-winning app. It's mixed sports. By the way, if you weren't betting on the Canelo Alvarez fight this Saturday, that's on you. If you didn't know he was going to obliterate him and win, I can't help you. He's the best boxer I've ever seen in person. Don't at me, people who are boxing fans. But right now, PrizePicks lets you do mixed sports, any prop you can think of. Head over there right now, put in the promo code Locked On, get a 100% match up to $100 at PrizePicks.com.
That's fantastic. We did that whole ad read. We did that whole first segment. And I still do not know who won that boxing match, nor who Clint's talking about, because all he said was he obliterated him.
I said Canelo Alvarez. Alvarez.
No, I understand. But then you did not say which of them won the fight.
Canelo Alvarez won, beat Plant, and obliterated him in the 11th round.
Canelo Alvarez, to be clear for the listeners and myself, is one person. That's one. Okay. That's one human that we're speaking of.
Move on. Okay. Move. This is embarrassing. Move on.
All right. I'm embarrassed by nothing. Let me tell you what Missouri is embarrassed by. Missouri is embarrassed by the way that Stetson Bennett came out and absolutely carved up this defense. But listen, we talked about Jermaine Burton. He is the star of the wide receiver room, and he's clearly cemented himself into that role. Brock Bowers, we know who this dude is. Big O, we know who this dude is. Did you see some of the road grading that Big O was doing in this game? I'm talking about just go back and watch zero on every play, because some of these plays, y'all, he just carries people down the field. It's beautiful to watch. Lad McConkey scores another touchdown. Okay? This dude is who we thought he is. But I want to talk to you about a drive in the first half, in the first quarter of the game, Clint, that I think really set the stage and exemplified what this team is and what this game was to me. Let me take you back. Georgia's had a couple drives. Okay. They've not amounted to any points.
Hasn't.
Missouri gets a big punt return, gets a couple first downs on some quarterback runs. Missouri kicks a field goal. Georgia's now behind in this game.
We are.
That's not a feeling Georgia's used to. It's now 3-0 Missouri. Now, there are no Georgia fans that are nervous, okay? But maybe what you've forgotten is that the next possession, Georgia gets the ball, and on our own 30-yard line, after a series of a first down run that goes nowhere and a drop by A.D. Mitchell on second down, on our own 30-yard line, it's 3rd and 10. And A.D. Mitchell runs a little 10-yard stop route.
Yes, he does.
And he puts his foot in the ground, and he turns around, and Stetson Bennett shoots a laser beam into his chest. And A.D. catches the ball with a Missouri defensive back draped all over him. Really heavily contested physical catch, which, if there's one thing you're going to say about A.D. Mitchell, it's maybe he's a true freshman. He's not the biggest guy in the world. Those types of physical catches. He just coming off a drop on the previous down, a ball that hit him in the hands that he really should have caught. Stetson goes right back to him, which I loved. AD moves the chains. The drive keeps going. We run it again on first down to the tune of 0 yards. It's now 2nd and 10. And Stetson Bennett throws a ball that should have been intercepted, Clint. He throws
100%.
a ball to a Missouri defensive back. Missouri defensive back breaks on the ball, undercuts the route, and this ball hits his hands, Clint. He doesn't catch it because he plays for Missouri, and he's terrible. But when it goes through his hands off the deflection, tiptoeing the sideline is Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint, and he hauls this ball in unimaginably on the sidelines. Could never have guessed that he would make that catch. The catch probability.
I was already throwing my hat in anger at this point, Daniel.
And then they said the referee came running in, waving his hands like this, and you say, "Oh, is that a first down?"
I should go.
I should go retrieve. Let me go retrieve my cap. That's the second first down. Okay.
Was that the last first down?
3 plays later.
Okay.
After 3 ineffective plays, it's now 4th and 7 from about the 35-yard line.
That's right.
Okay. Maybe there was a first down in between there. I can't remember.
No, it was Kenny McIntosh, Stetson Bennett, 1 yard, 1 yard, 2 yard.
Yep. It's now 4th and 7 from inside the 50, but about the 30, 37, 38-yard line. It's 4th and 7. Okay, we're going to go for it. That's fine. Podlesny has not been good. I support this decision to go for it instead of trying to the long field goal unit. Here's what stands out to me about this play, though, Clint. You guys know that this is the Aryan Smith touchdown. This is the 37-yard Aryan Smith touchdown where, let me just say, Stetson Bennett, Clint, drops this ball in the bucket. Like, in the bucket. He puts it right in the man's arms. He does not break stride. The defensive back has 0 chance, and Aryan Smith comes down with this ball. Beautiful throw from Stetson Bennett. That's not what stands out on the play.
Oh.
What stands out on the play is that Stetson Bennett made that throw in the first place. Because there are 2 other receivers running routes on this play. Both of them are beyond the line to gain, and both of them are open. Clint.
Yes, sir.
There's about an 8-yard comeback, little hitch. That's open. There's a defensive player there, but it's open. He had just fed that ball. I was
just going to say, it was the previous drive.
Just fed it to A.D. Mitchell in a similar play. And then there's about a 15-yard crossing route coming open across the middle. Stetson has plenty of time. He could have waited for that to develop, and he could have hit that. But the confidence of Stetson Bennett to make this deep throw, and the confidence in Stetson Bennett in Aryan Smith specifically,
correct,
to go out and get this ball, Clint, that was a very telling moment in the game to me, because this wide receiving core it's not just top-end talent. Jermaine Burton, we talked about. Brock Bowers is an all-world talent at tight end. Darnell Washington is a human being, the likes of which they don't make human beings.
I again disagree with that description of him, but yes.
But I just named 3 players who moved the chains in critical moments on this drive, and none of them are those guys. Okay, we're talking about the A.D. Mitchells of the world, the Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaints of the world, the Aryan Smiths of the world, and we could keep going, Clint. The depth and talent of this wide receiver room is off the charts. And the confidence, to your point, of either quarterback to get them the ball is sky high for me.
Look, let me tell you yes, it's sky high. I'm not going to be Debbie Downing here. I am going to say, because this is actually a point of how incredible wide receivers are and how incredible Todd Monken is. So I like Stetson. Again, hear me, Dog fans. I like Stetson. I'm glad he's out there balling. Here's the problem. They stacked the box to stop the run. We didn't run effectively. We'll get to that in a little bit. Our offensive line, not good at pushing them back. I think we missed Jamari much more in the run game than we did in the pass game. Our pass pro, I'll take anybody's best blitz package all day long with his offensive line. anybody's. Road grading, little more nervous. I truly am. But we'll get to that another time. Here's what Stetson does. Stetson is a one read and chuck it, and he's got the confidence. He's got moxie. He don't care, and he's got wide receivers that can go do it. Like, essentially, I'm fine with this offense because Todd Monken has out-schemed defensive coordinators so much that he knows Stetson Bennett can one read and chuck, and it's going to work. Like, I don't think we understand how incredible that is. Todd Monken knows there's either going to, because he stared down the one that should have been picked. He stares down those little comebacks on the sidelines, Daniel. Like, that's, yes, he does. Okay. But also he stares and he looks at the big fish and he goes, I want that touchdown. I don't want a first down. Mm-hmm. I want the touchdown. And he goes out and gets it because he has trust in the wide receivers. This is 50-50 balls all over the place. Dog fans, this is what we've been clamoring for years, right? The LSU offenses, the Alabama offenses, all of those types. That's what this is. If you go back and look at those teams, they weren't precision passing. Joe Burrow, yes, he's a good quarterback. But on some of those throws, he was just chucking it up, people, and just saying, go get it. Athletic, incredibly talented wide receivers.
Yeah, are Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, are they any good? Are those guys?
There we go.
Joe Burrow's good, but yeah.
We have those guys at wide receiver now. So,
wide receiver. Yes, we do.
Stetson, keep chucking it, man. JT, keep chucking it. It's because it's going to be fine. And at the end of the day, so what? Just like we saw in last week, so what? Stetson, you throw a 45-yard interception. Okay, they're at the 5-yard line, and our defense is back there.
We'll score.
With me. We'll get 7. We'll still get 7.
Listen, both ends of the field are the red zone. You understand that? Like when we have the ball inside the opponent's 20, we're in the red zone. When our opponent has the ball inside their own 20, guess what? We're in the red zone. Because this defense out here trying to score, y'all. And if you're anywhere near the end zone and you think you're just going to punt the ball, again, you're not.
That's a you problem.
That's a you problem. We don't even have to call a block, apparently. Kirby will tell you. Dan Jackson just out here going, you know what? You know what, Will Muschamp? You seem like a nice guy. but I want us to block the punt, and so I'm just going to tell my friend Nolan Smith over here, hey, we're going to go block the punt.
Hey, we're going to come back after this. We're going to talk about the meta narrative of the landscape of NCAA football. But first, Dan's going to let you know about Built Bar.
Built Bar is the tastiest protein bar on planet Earth. We've had them. We've told you about them for years. They come in a wide variety of delicious flavors, all of which are available to you at BuiltBar.com. It is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, which means it is high in fiber, high in protein, low in sugar, keto approved, good for whatever diet plan you are on, and yet it still tastes like a candy bar. They come, as I said, in a bunch of delicious flavors. You can get a mixed box or a single flavor box, and all of them can be had at BuiltBar.com. If you enter the promo code LOCKEDON15, you get a 15% off coupon for your first order. That's what that promo code will get you. If you order 1 box, 2 boxes, 10 boxes, 20 boxes, 15% off your entire order right now at BuiltBar.com. Enter the promo code LOCKEDON15.
All right, dog fans.
We got more to talk about in terms of this Georgia game. We got more to talk about maybe in terms of the Missouri game. We're going to have a guest on.
Yep.
Tomorrow we'll get back into this game. We'll probably look ahead to Tennessee. There's a lot of things we're going to be doing tomorrow. But we cannot let this go another moment, Clint.
No, we can't.
Because there's a lot of things that we could talk about right now.
Sure.
But there's only one thing we will talk about right now.
Sure. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Shane Beamer.
Is that
not a lot of success?
Is that his name? Okay.
Not a lot of success this year. A lot of consternation. A lot of figuring out the SEC. A lot of realizing, oh hot dang, there are a lot of good teams, and Georgia has all them 5 stars. And I'm just trying to keep my head afloat, and we're just trying to keep grinding away, build a new culture here.
Shane Beamer has been doing a lot of clapping and encouraging his team this year. Normally, he's doing it when his team is getting taken to the woodshed, and he's just out here.
I don't know the names of Shane Beamer's wife or daughter, but I can tell you this right now. They know Dad loves them. He was
very encouraged.
Dad Little League clapping his team all season long. Okay.
But in this game against the vaunted Florida Gators, he was still clapping, Clint. He was still clapping, but it meant a little bit more. You know, sometimes in the SEC, it just means more.
Oh, it means more. Shane Beamer out here trouncing, crushing the now soulless, the 40 burger that he put up on the now soulless Florida Gators. 40.
To 17.
South Carolina. Now, if you don't know, like there's a the more you know segment, you need to grab your child. If you're teaching your child about football right now, or if you're teaching somebody new to football, and you want to show them what happens when a team quits, just says, we good, show them this game.
Exhibit A.
Exhibit A, the Florida Gators, after being absolutely housed and embarrassed by Georgia, now get housed and embarrassed against South Carolina, and there is not a single person on the planet that thinks Florida is good at anything.
Well, they are all correct then. I don't
Beat
know.
writers out here trolling their own team. Beat writers out here talking about for the first time all year, total offensive yards were in favor of the opponent to Florida, just trolling Dan Mullen, the team they were supposed to cover, and I'm here for it.
Listen, Todd Grantham has lost his job.
Oh, hold on, wait a second. This is breaking news. This is Sunday night.
Todd Grantham, it seems, has lost his job. Clint.
It doesn't seem.
Now, is this good news?
Where do you put it, Daniel?
Is this good news for Georgia? I believe it was third down and his job was on the line, and so he has just surrendered it. He's just surrendered it willingly.
I'm good.
Now look, is this good news for Georgia? No, of course it is not, because Todd Grantham is among the worst defensive coordinators to ever coordinate a college football game. But do you know what this means, Georgia fans?
Say more.
Todd, who's in charge of hiring and firing assistant coaches, Clint?
Now, if I understand the hierarchy of the tree of this, it seems to me that the head football coach would be responsible for then hiring the lesser than head football coaches on his team.
Interesting. So, if an athletic director was going to fire a head football coach,
sure, who would be in charge of hiring that head football coach, Daniel?
Probably the athletic director would be in charge of the overall hierarchy then.
Makes sense.
So it seems as though that athletic director would not allow that the head football coach to begin firing assistant football coaches unless there had already been a discussion and an agreement reached, whereas the head football coach would continue in his duties as the head football coach. So guys, Georgia fans, this is fantastic news for Georgia.
Just wash it on you, soak it in.
It means that Dan Mullen is here for at least one more year. The circus continues in Gainesville. I don't know who he's going to hire a defensive coordinator, but I don't care. Because let me tell you a dirty little secret, Clint. Giving up 40 points to South Carolina is an abomination. It is, to say it's a fireable offense is the understatement of the decade. But Clint, what if I was to tell you that it's more embarrassing to only score 17 points against South Carolina among the worst defenses that the SEC has seen?
Let me regale you. East Carolina, 17 points against South Carolina.
So we have a comp.
Troy, 14. Vanderbilt, 20.
Oh, no.
Vanderbilt has 20. Guys, you want to know the teams that
who runs the offense over there? Who runs the offense? Florida. Who's
Todd
in charge
Grantham
of that?
is responsible for the points against? What's the points against? Let's talk about that. 40, 17, just the higher end. 45 Tennessee, Texas A&M 44 on South Carolina. So you get it. You're like, okay, that makes total sense. But man, the QB whisperer whose QB quit on him and just didn't even try to go after a fumble after he got sacked. Just said, nah, I'm good. I'm fine.
Dan Mullen, lifetime contract. Give him a lifetime contract. Please, just... It's everything that's right with the world. Clint, there are no good teams in college football. I don't know if you're aware of this. No. Alabama fan, if you're listening to the podcast, we'll get to you right on down the road.
Let me just say it right now. There is a left-handed, immobile quarterback who had the yips, who saved your playoff chances. You did not save yourself. His inability. The younger version of an old quarterback named Brad Johnson who played in a Super Bowl long ago saved your chances. You did not earn it. Just know that.
He's wide open over the middle. Just don't throw it 40 yards over his head, maybe, and we'll be good.
It's the best receiver you have left on your team. I can't. Alabama's
not good.
No,
That's the tweet. They're not good. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. We've got a full week of shows. This is a big game against Tennessee at the world's largest actual trash can.
Second most hated team in all of college football, just so you're fully aware.
It's not,
in the SEC.
Sure. It's totally acceptable. They are awful. They are disgusting. And we will probably get mustard stains on our uniforms this weekend. But big game in Neyland Stadium. We'll be back to talk about it. We've got some guests and a lot of fun stuff planned for the week. So tune back and join us, and we'll see you guys then.